Hey guys, and welcome to our review of Darling in the Franxx, episode 22. I'm your host, Cinder Blaze. Today we have...
Makotoa.
And Stranger.
Alright, welcome back, guys. And, you know, after like a couple episodes ago, we kind of quickly went from loving the crap out of the series to kind of just like hating like the potential it kind of squandered. But
yeah, I had hopes for the series and was like, oh man, is there gonna be a bunch of chaos for all the stuff they were doing? No.
there's they have a payoff in small bits in certain portions of the episode, but I feel like the wide scale kind of stuff that they were kind of going for just already kind of fell apart already. This is kind of like a little soft reboot of some of the stuff where like we kind of created a new problem in a way, with Zero Two. We learned later in this episode that her mind is still in Strelazia, so it can kind of be seen as like a new fight, because I feel like the battle that we had last time against Verum and all that stuff, the way it kind of happened all suddenly, it felt really bad. But now this is something that now that it is something that we're expecting, I feel like at least it'll feel a little bit more natural and not just be completely bullshit. So, what do you guys think about that part?
I mean, I hated the way they set this episode up from the start. Like, I hate that we skipped everything. That suddenly the ships were flying up into outer space and we didn't know why. And it was just like, oh yeah, they just are. The Klaxosaurs just are doing it now, all by themselves. And Hero and all the other gang just escaped the Strelazia, and now they're just watching it fly up, and it just all happened. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. That bothers me so much, and I want to explain it in more like precise words why I hate it, but I'm not sure I'm there yet. I'm not sure I understand why I hate it since we just watched it, and I'm like just still processing it, but I just do. And there's nothing that's going to change my mind about it, unless you guys can think of something that...
I mean, like, your like first impressions of that scene is probably one of the most important things, especially for like, your average audience. And
gosh, I hate that. Like, this was a moment where we could have seen Hero like 02, 02, 02, just like start freaking out, and we missed that. We missed, recovering some of the squad from where they were like buried almost, and how the heck did freaking Baldy get out? The dude who's like
Hachi.
Yeah, Hachi. How did he get out? We don't know. Who cares?
I don't think he was really in any like imminent danger given the fight that we had previously.
I know. Like, and honestly, I suppose I didn't necessarily need to see all that stuff, because I did end up understanding things as this episode went along, because it just played the let's reveal what happened to this character game, and that's the whole episode almost.
Yeah, but personally, I feel like the way they handled the 02, kind of like her kind of not becoming like comatose, but essentially a vegetable, was handled really well. Like, we don't need to see Hero kind of like screaming 02, because that's all he does in this series. Might as well just kind of like skip over that and actually get to the part that actually matters.
It's just like we left on that cliffhanger, and so I was expecting some kind of like reaction from any of the characters to that, mainly 02, and it was just not there, and so it was just a disappointment to me. Because I was expecting it, I guess, but
I think we're kind of going in expecting the rest of the finale, because like once we kind of had that big battle, we're just like, oh well, the rest of this has to be the end of the series and the big fight. They're going into space. They're gonna fight like the big planetary boss or whatever. Like, that's what I feel like a lot of people were kind of expecting going into this. But they don't like. I feel like the pacing for this part is a little bit all right, but there were like some other problems within the episode that just made the whole experience not as enjoyable. Like, it was still kind of like ticking me off. And since I'm already on the topic of Hero, what did you guys feel about the confrontation between Goro and Hero? Because for me, it kind of revealed some of the flaws I had with Hero as a character, and it kind of, it made me appreciate Goro a lot more. But
one must be sacrificed for the other to be redeemed.
Like, despite how much I like what Goro did in that scene for kind of like his whole like squad, like the entire team, he got to voice their opinions, and I was like, yeah, that's great. The reaction that Hiro gave was probably one of the most like flat kind of reactions, and it kind of goes back to like my earlier bitching for the series, where he's just like throwing out Shinji-isms, and he's just being like that.
Oh
really...
yeah, no, this is genuine. This is genuine Hiro episode 1 talking. This is the same kind of character. The way he was like, I can't, if I'm not piloting a mech, I might as well be dead. That's what he pretty much said to 02. And now his line is, if I'm not with 02 watching her smile, I might as well be dead. Like, he never... Everything else goes out the window, which, like, that can be seen as...
That's exactly what Goro was kind of yelling at him for, too.
It's yeah, because he's... Everyone else doesn't matter in the long run, more or less, as a result. Which, it's kind of like that dilemma when you're married and you have a spouse, and it's like, okay, so what are you going to do? Are you who's the most important person to you, really? It's your spouse, not necessarily your friends at that point, because they're your best friend. So I like that it sort of, accentuates that relationship and importance of it, but at the same time, it makes Hiro look really crummy, and I mean, it puts Garo on, a pedestal, that's for sure. And I'm glad that he got something. I was not expecting anything else from him this season, or Ichigo, which I'm glad to see that she was stepping up for most of the episode as well.
Yeah. But, I don't know, Jordan, what are your thoughts on Hiro this episode, if you're still there?
Alright. Well, let's just flick back to episode 1. We have reset the character development.
Have we reset him? I feel like we went back, because...
okay, sorry, my bad. We reset him to...
episode,
right?
2 to 5.
Where he just realized, oh, I can actually do things with 02, and I need her.
Yeah.
We're right there. We're episode 2.
Yeah, like, one of my major issues with Hiro throughout the series is that he's a character that is just the standard shonen protagonist. He's super idealistic, and he's, like, it's a character trait that you can kind of, like, plug into any kind of anime, any kind of shonen anime. But for, every other, like, shonen protagonist, like, for, the Naruto's, Naruto's a little bit too different, but, the generic other mecha protagonists, they have, like, more bonds, and, like, their feelings are a bit more specific to the actual plot at hand. In episode 1, where he was kind of talking about, like, if I can't pilot, then, like, I have no value whatsoever. And we can kind of explore, like, what it actually meant to pilot in that universe, and kind of explore his psyche in that regard. But now it feels a little bit more dumbed down. Just like, I need my 02, and if I don't get my 02, I'm gonna be sad.
Alex, I just thought of the perfect way that they could have made this work, and it would have made both of them look good, Garo and Hiro. And that would have been Goro and Hiro, sorry. And that would have been pretty much Hiro saying, instead of, I need her, and just being very selfish and insecure like that, it should have been, she needs me. And at that point, Goro could have been like, well, we need you. But then, there's still that friendship attachment where they don't want him to leave, they don't want to lose him, and you can be justified in that argument and see where that's coming from. And then on Hiro's side, you could be like, yeah, she's kind of like a vegetable at this point, and it's obvious she's being hurt. Why wouldn't Hiro want to go to her to help her? I think that would have fixed so much, and it wouldn't have devolved Hiro back to his insecure self season 1 or episode 1. Because at that point, now it's now she's reliant on me. Now someone needs me, rather than I have to be so reliant on this to justify my existence.
I mean, to some extent, it wasn't like completely selfish in his speech, because he's talking about like how, she's already made the sacrifice for him, and now he has to step up and do the same thing for her. So,
well, you saying that just makes Hiro sound better than what we've pretty much condemned him to, which is reverting all the way back to, so maybe it wasn't as much of a reversion as we're saying it is.
Yeah, but I feel like it feels like a parrot in some regard. Like we've kind of heard him kind of say all these things about 02 and how she's like the most important thing in his life, and I'm like, yeah, we kind of already knew that. Like, just kind of move on with it. So let's kind of like stop bitching about Hero for a second and kind of talk about like the whole status of the world. And apparently, after using magma energy for so long, even though I don't think it was that long, but maybe it was. I'll give credit to the show for that.
I think they just used it a bunch.
Yeah. So it kind of just drained the earth of its resources, and now they can't even plant plants anymore. The soil just kind of like
crop.
Yeah. And just kind of seeing like the rest of the kids kind of like trying to rebuild society. That feels like something that usually wouldn't belong in a series like this. Usually after they deal with the big threat, they're like, all right, now we got to rebuild the world, and it ends the series. You don't really get to see them kind of struggle in this regard. So like I kind of respect that they're trying to like change things up with the standard like trigger formula in a way, and like, okay, we're gonna kind of address these and kind of show some of the troubles that these kids have, because it's something that they've been trying to do sporadically throughout the series. Like when they were actually I feel like probably most when they were left on their own in that one area, like when Papa and them kind of like forgot about them, and they had to like do stuff on their own. So
we've sort of seen this a little bit before.
Yeah, so it's like an extension of that, and I kind of enjoyed that portion of it. But then kind of seeing how some I said let's stop bitching about Hero, but to see kind of like Hero function in that society was kind of amusing to me, because in this world we have a bunch of humans, the other people on that team, they're trying to like figure out society, trying to like make sure that they have enough resources to survive, and then he's just kind of like he's just focusing on 02 and to some extent the plot, like he's kind of stuck as being this main character. He has to do the big actiony stuff, or else he's just useless in this world.
He can't settle down, man. His girl's like gone. Of course, it makes sense to me that he would be that one-track mind to some degree. Like, I think they were a little bit obnoxious with it, which kind of hurts Hero as a character for us, likability-wise. But at the same time, I'm not even sure if we're... It's hard to tell if this show wants us to like Hero or not. It's almost like it's playing with the idea that we shouldn't, or maybe some other character is supposed to be what we're rooting for, but...
Mitsuru is the silent protagonist of the entire series. No, it's not like that part's really bad, because considering what's going around with him, it just like it's kind of funny to see it like in a after they kind of had that big fight, seeing the main character not really fit in because there's not really a main plot for him to follow anymore. It just like that was the part that was amusing to me. But the story isn't over. That's why he's kind of having this little struggle. So
I will say though, the first half of this episode, as things just spiral into more and more depressing things, I was just sick of it. Like I was like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this completely like fall apart and everyone start to lose their minds. Like especially when the crops started dying, that was when it was real bad. When everyone's just starting to lose hope completely. Like, why are they making this so very depressing? Even just showing Mika, wreathing in his bed as he slowly dies.
We're talking about the blonde 9.
Yeah, the blonde.
That looks like.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mika, I love from Seraph of the End, but that hurt me to watch, and I don't know if I should be upset at the show for it, or if I should give props to the show for it, because it was able to do that to me. It's like, wow, I'm impressed. Or should I be like, no, I hate this. Why are you doing this to me? Stop.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel bad, so I'll give them credit for that. Like, they conveyed the proper emotion for that type of scene, but it also felt like them kind of just adding drama You know, when they're actually like injecting drama into the series, like sometimes it feels like a bit too apparent. But you know, like I feel like that was in like the big picture, it was kind of needed. So, since I kind of mentioned Mitsuru, I kind of have him on my mind. What'd you think about the Kokoro kind of development? It was really small. It was like probably a total of 30 seconds in this entire series, or not series,
The
but
entire
in
episode,
the entire episode. But you know, it's been confirmed that she's preggers, and she cannot
prego.
pilot a FranXX while doing so, even though she kind of did. I mean, she probably wasn't that far into her pregnancy when she was piloting before, but you know, now she can't. And by the end of the episode, we see while everyone else is kind of suited up to pilot FranXX, she and Mitsuru are still in the regular, you know, school uniforms.
Oh shoot!
Oh yeah, they can't.
Oh, he's not joining them. Wow.
Can't.
There's no other partner for him.
Okay. Wait, then, who's? No. I thought that like.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Kokoro had the choice.
Nines. There's like 3 nines. Okay, there's an odd number of nines.
There's 1 9, and a bunch of fodder.
No, there were 2 more. There were 2 more nines.
There are technically 9s, but those aren't characters. They are like, they fill in the space.
One of them, yes, exactly, and that's exactly what their role will be. One of them is filling in for Hero's replacement, not replacement, but 02's replacement.
I don't know.
And
I feel
swear if it's Mika.
I don't know about that, because here's the thing. He doesn't have Stratos anymore.
I feel like he's going to be third wheeling Ichigo's mech.
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to be in one random mech or something.
Wait, no. We've got every team except we're missing 3 people. We're missing 3. We're missing Mitsuru, Kokoro, and 02. And then suddenly 3 people join from the 9s, Mika and other 2 faceless names. Something is going to happen here. One of them's piloting something with somebody else.
I think here's what's fucking happen. Whatever the heck his name, Iota is gonna pilot with Hero for a bit, and one of the generic FranXX or the special.
Yeah, the special
FranXX.
generic FranXX.
And then
The 9's
and then have Hero go inside Star Empty, and then he'll just and then the guy will just solo pilot and go into rampage mode, and then die.
Or if like Hero actually does end up being with one of the Iotas, he might just, you know, get backstabbed because they're like, Papa, we're here, we brought Hero, or they might do something stupid like that with like no real, you know, it doesn't have to make sense. Like what I said didn't make sense, but it might just happen.
Yeah, exactly. It could totally happen. I could see it.
Just to add a little bit more drama, because we have to get that 24 episode mark, and I don't know. It's overall, I felt like the Mitsuru stuff was kind of nice, especially like at the end where we don't actually like focus onto him and like see him actually making the decision and like thinking about it. We already see like, you know, what he's thought by like his actions. Like he's staying with Kokoro, and you can kind of like feel from his body language. So I'm like,
yeah,
yes.
I can't tell if he's got his memory back or not.
I think like they're implying that they're getting some back. Like I think Kokoro was wearing her wedding band and like Mitsuru was kind of like, you know, either like looking at his or feeling his ring finger, like in one scene. So, you know, hopefully that gets resolved peacefully. They're not in the fight, so they're kind of safe in one way, but the Earth is also kind of dying, so who knows if it just like randomly explodes, because that could easily happen, and then like the FranXX pilots have to like just settle on Mars and terraform that.
No.
Which I don't think is gonna happen, because the last hope on Earth is still there. So that's a thing. And since this episode's running kind of long, let's just kind of like briefly talk about what you guys felt about Nana kind of becoming, you know, the mother for all the children.
I'm so glad to see her back.
I'm really glad that we actually have some good characters.
Yeah.
And by good characters back, I mean Nana had an attempt at character, and it was okay.
Yeah,
and I just like the character design.
yeah. I'm pretty sure like that's where a lot of likability for the character comes from me. But like just seeing what she like means to kids, and like we just kind of see like a small like little scene where she's just like embracing them, even though she was like in a wheelchair. She actually cares for these people, and just knowing that comforts me at least. And there is some hope on Earth, I guess. And with that note, I feel like we should probably leave with any final thoughts for this episode. Any going once, going twice? All right. Well, that is it for us. So, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other jazz. Check our description for all of our social media links and that juicy Discord link as well if you want to talk even more stuff about FranXX. So, we'll catch you next time. Keep it juicy.
Kiss me now.
Guess how long that review was?
20 minutes.
21.
Why? It really did not need to be that long.
Oh no.
Sorry, I got on a hero rant.